great deal of finality hanging in the air on this Friday edition of Belmont Insider. As we start this show, 30 races remain this fall at beautiful Belmont Park. Hard to believe it is the case, though. Maggie Wolfendale, Jason Blewett alongside. Has it surprised you?
Of course. It always surprises me. This meet just flies by, and it's unfortunate because it is such a great meet. I love coming back here in the fall. But you think about it, you have 6 or 7 weeks up at Saratoga, and this meet's actually longer, but it goes by in the blink of an eye, about twice the speed that Saratoga goes by.
Well, it's nearly been 6 months since we were last at the Big A, and we'll get back over to South Ozone Park, Queens this coming Wednesday with an 8-race card that kicks off at 1 p.m., a card that was drawn today. But look, the good news going in, things cleared up. Main track was obviously wet throughout the afternoon, but we lost our paraphernalia on tonight's show, which we're happy about.
Oh, come on, buck up. You still got an overcoat on.
Well,
I just have a sweater on.
I'm a baby, but I got rid of the scarf.
Nicer.
Much nicer, and we hope you're out here with us this closing weekend. And look, we're only a week out. In fact, 7 days from the first Breeders' Cup card on October 31st, Halloween, and that will be the reemergence, at least regarding Grade 1 company, for Hall of Fame rider Gary Stevens, Maggie, who has not ridden since July 6th and had knee replacement surgery shortly thereafter. It would be good to have him back because, I mean, this is a guy who is just an icon. It really is.
Truly is. And I was reading an article before this news actually emerged that he was very impressed, as well as his doctor, with the progress that he was making. I mean, this is not simple surgery. It's getting a full joint replaced and having something artificial to your body, something foreign in there. So you really have to kind of learn to use your knee again. And it's remarkable that he's gotten back on horses in the speed that he has, and he's actually going to ride in the Breeders' Cup as we see him here in the Classic last year, winning with Mucho Macho Man.
Right, he's tied for 6th all-time in Breeders' Cup victories with 10. Mucho Macho Man, obviously his last Breeders' Cup win, closing out the 2013 edition, but it'll be good to have Gary back. Says he wants to ride, hopefully Thursday, get a couple of mounts under his belt. And even regarding you and getting on horses in the morning, if you stop riding for a bit, do you need to get on a couple to really get your rhythm and fitness back?
Goodness, you do. I mean, I am probably a little bit of a wimp in that sense, but if I'm off for a week and then come back and gallop, I feel weak in that sense. You really got to get your sea legs, if you will, back underneath of you because it exhausts. It's a very physically challenging game. Even though you look like you're just perched up there, it makes you tired.
All right, Breeders' Cup 31 with Gary Stevens and a whole lot more just a week away out at Santa Anita as we get back to today's card. Again, the last Friday of the meet in Belmont Park, bathed in that soft light at this time of the day. It really is beautiful out here as we check out the first highlight. We've got 10 races all together. Race number 8, though, is where we're going. A non-winners and 1 allowance. They're off, round a big favorite as we go to John and Brielle.
Run for Logistics in between horses and moving up. It's a break of 3 to Round, who's 5th in the early going. Then comes Jeter in 6th. Moose Vasco on the outside in 7th. Diker Beach is 8th. Gansett Bay is the trailer in 9th. Big Guy Ian by a head over Run for Logistics. Now Run for Logistics draws right alongside. The two of them are together through the first opening quarter in 22 seconds. A break of 2. Monster Mash races in 3rd. Duval is down on the inside. Jeter's in between horses. And Round is now moving up on the far outside as they come for the top of the stretch. Big Guy Ian, Run for Logistics, Monster Mash, 3 of them across, and Round on the far outside. The half in 45 and 1/5 seconds. Big Guy Ian, Monster Mash, they're doing battle here in the stretch with Round in 3rd. It's Monster Mash who comes away with the lead. Big Guy Ian, Round 2nd and 3rd. Monster Mash in front, trying to pull off the upset here, and Monster Mash has won it by almost 3. Round got up for 2nd, then Big Guy Ian and Diker Beach.
This looked, at least on paper, like a potential walk in the park in a way for Round, who was 4 to 5. He comes up short. Not the case with Monster Mash, who a week out from Halloween was very good in the 8th.
Yeah, a very fitting horse to win a week out from the Halloween. But, you know, Round, he came in with that bar shoe on again. He has some issues. He doesn't like to pair up races. It's the first time he had, and he just came up short today. And I thought Monster Mash was very impressive. And I thought it was also interesting, Jay, that he had been training training up at Finger Lakes. You know, you think of these big allowance horses that run here at Belmont to be here, but really, Jeremiah does spend most of his time up at the lakes. That's where his family is. He wanted to keep a close eye on this one.
And it all worked out. I wish I had realized that ahead of time, because 13-1 would have been pretty nice with Monster Mash and Jose Ortiz. Well, good call with that, and Monster Mash, I'm sure, and I was certainly the case. I can speak from experience, took down quite a few late pick 4 tickets with his upset win in today's 8th race. A race later in that sequence, and we're hope you're alive, going into the second to last leg in Friday's late pick 4 is race number 9. We go with the field of 4, high-priced $80,000 optional claimer, the old 4-pack once again, and Johnny I.
Great Attack and Cajun Breeze. So those 3 across the track in an early battle here. 3 lengths back to Associate, who sits behind those front runners in 4th. Down at the rail is Cajun Breeze. Great Attack is in between, and on the outside, isn't he perfect? 3.5 lengths to Associate. The opening quarter mile in the mud in 23 2/5 seconds. They head for the far turn, and it's Great Attack to poke ahead in front. Down at the rail is a Cajun Breeze. On the outside, isn't he perfect? And Associate now is drawing closer. Midway on the turn, it's Great Attack. There goes Associate now up on the outside. It's Associate and Great Attack, and the 2 of them are heads apart for the lead. Cajun Breeze is now back in 3rd. Isn't he perfect is back in 4th, and they're at the top of the stretch. Associate now takes over the lead. Great Attack trying to battle back on the inside, but it is Associate in front. Great Attack in 2nd, and Cajun Breeze in 3rd. As they pass the 8th pole, it is Associate, the 4-5 favorite, and he's got it wrapped up here. He's got a 4-length lead as they come down for the wire, and it's going to be more at the end. Associate the winner, then Great Attack and Cajun Breeze.
The break wasn't all that great. In fact, he was off way last of 4. It didn't matter. Associate just powers home much the best in the feature.
Yeah, he got a nice setup with 3 of the other 4 runners going out head-to-head. But Associate's such a cool dude. I mean, he's won a 3rd. He's 30% with his win average here for his career. He's 7 for 21 lifetime. He just likes to win. And kudos to Michelle Nevin, who, it's a horse who has issues, let's face facts, and she keeps him in his winning ways.
No, brought him back in June off a 16th or near 16-month layoff, and he's returned in career best effort. I mean, Rick Dutrow Jr., before he was suspended for whatever it was, a decade, did fine with Associate off the claim, and despite the layoff, he hasn't missed a beat from Michelle Nevin. And journeyman Larry Mejias, who lost his bug August 29th aboard from the outside, or at least passing everybody on the outside with Associate at a very short price in race number 9. As we take a little time out with 2 highlights down, a lot more coming your way on this closing Friday from the Palace. Stay tuned on MSG Plus.
Are you ready?
This is a live money contest fitting of a day like the Breeders' Cup, a championship event like the Breeders' Cup. Lucrative, exclusive, you name it, a $10,000 live money contest. We hope you're across town watching the Breeders' Cup 31 with us at Aqueduct or here at the Belmont Cafe. But again, last year we talked about it last night. The winner took down 125,000 plus.
Cha-ching.
Down through 10, 25,000 plus. Top 15 go to the DRF NTRA National Handicapping Championship. And with the Breeders' Cup a week away, what's one of your favorite Breeders' Cup memories?
One of my favorite Breeders' Cup, memories, I think it's a collective memory possibly of Goldikova. Just her 3 straight Breeders' Cup miles. It was just amazing filly. I remember the first time watching her win with that just a determination in her face. She was all guts, all heart, and you can only pray that you have another one come along like that.
A real mare for the ages, that's for sure. Goldakova, few in her realm. We had hoped Wise Dan would get a shot to go for the Breeders' Cup Mile three-peat. Not to be. We hope he's doing okay, and hope he'll join us next season in 2015 as we get back to race number 4. 10-race card as things have settled down in the Belmont Park paddock. 10-race card, pick 6 began in race number 5, so let's go back to the penultimate leg of the pick 5. I'm confused, but Johnny I is not, and he's got the call this field of 5 in race 4.
Rover is a close-up second. And then it's First Bid who's racing in third. Those three have opened up 4 lengths on Mr. Maybe and Sea Raven. They leave the chute and head up the backstretch now. And it's Sublime who will set the pace here. Sublime in front by a little more than a length. First Bid moves into second with Lunar Rover on the outside in third. Gap of 6 back to Sea Raven. 4 more to Mr. Maybe through an opening quarter mile in 24 and 2/5 seconds over this muddy main track. And it is Sublime the leader here. Sublime in front by a little more than a length. First Bid in second by a half length. Lunar Rover, the odds-on favorite, on the outside in third. Now a big gap, 10 lengths, maybe more, back to Sea Raven and then Mr. Maybe. Half mile, 48 and 1/5 seconds. Sublime is still in front as they race around the far turn. Sublime by a length. Lunar Rover has now moved into second. First Bid is back running in third. It's 6 lengths to Sea Raven. Mr. Maybe continues to trail. Sublime ran 3/4 in 1:12 and 2. It is Sublime holding off Lunar Rover with a 1/4 mile to the finish. Sublime in front by 2. Lunar Rover is in second as the field comes into the stretch. Sublime trying to go wire to wire here. It's Sublime in front by 2.5 lengths. Lunar Rover is all out in second. Mr. Maybe has moved into third. It's Sublime and Erod Ortiz Jr. They've got the lead with 100 yards to the wire. Sublime holding off Lunar Rover. Sublime wins it wire to wire. Lunar Rover was second. Mr. Maybe finished third.
Things have heated up in the jockeys race, and it's Erod Ortiz Jr. on the first of his 2 wins today on Sublime in race 4.
Yeah, was Javier called out today? He didn't make it to the winner's circle.
No, right, exactly.
So
he was shut out. He rode, but didn't get it
exactly.
done. Yeah.
Yeah, so Irad and Joel nipping at the heels of Javier for that Belmont riding title with only 2 days left in the meet.
Well-bred son of Medallia d'Or out of a Hysterical Lady, a mare called Hysterical Lady. It was a Grade 1 competitor, Breeders' Cup,
Yes.
Filly Mare Sprint winner, sounds
Yes,
about right.
I do
Certainly
believe so.
ran big in the Breeders' Cup a few years back. Darley's got the monopoly on those top-class mares. Do you see horses sometimes move forward going turf to dirt? Maybe the turf race wakes them up?
Yeah, totally. And sometimes it kind of correlates a off track or a sealed track like this does well with horses that are, switching surfaces. They kind of like the hardness of the turf, and that kind of mimics it here, that sealed surface that Sublime got today. So he liked it.
Darley, Kieran, and Erod in race number 4. Johnny I once again with the call. Here's just about every other race we ran on this closing Friday at Belmont Park. Muddy main track, no turf, and here we go.
Quarter pole. Barrier to entry, Rockin' Cozy, Verismilitude down at the rail. Rockin' Cozy and Verismilitude, their heads apart. Barrier to entry right there on the outside with an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Rockin' Cozy in between horses, Verismilitude at the rail, and Barrier to entry. The 3 of them come on down to the finish line, and it's going to be Rockin' Cozy to win the opener by a length over Barrier to entry. The favorite, Verismilitude, was third. The quarter pole, and here's Private Label up on the outside now to take over the lead. Jazz Player runs in second. Marble Falls is dropped back. On the outside is Lucid. Private Label in front by 3. Jazz Player towards the rail, Lucid's on the outside, and then Guggenheim. All chasing Private Label. Private Label in front. Lucid one last try on the outside. Private Label and Lucid turned out to be a photo. Looked like Private Label held on, but definitely a photo with Lucid. And a White Bay is running in 5th, and they're at the head of the stretch. Private Show, Delta Outlaw on the outside, whatever you want. Battles on down at the rail. And Bridget's Big Lovey as they pass the 8th pole. It's Delta Outlaw and Bridget's Big Lovey. Those two right together as they come down for the finish line, and it's Bridget's Big Lovey, and he loved the mud today. Delta Outlaw was second. Whatever you want, finished Champagne and Zozo. Then it's Harlan 6 in fifth as they head for home. The half, 45 and 4/5 seconds. Noon Sermon has opened up on Enduring Touch here. Noon Sermon's got a 6-length lead. Enduring Touch, Harlan 6 now gains on the outside, but there's just a 16th to the finish. It's Noon Sermon in front. Harlan 6, a clear-cut second, but the clear-cut winner is Noon Sermon. Won by 5. Harlan 6 was second. Justice Served came on to get third. Get Hot is the trailer, and they're at the top of the stretch. It is Winnitude, challenged here by St. Finian. St. Finian and Winnitude. Sun Lover is third. Down on the inside, 3 for Me is fourth. St. Finian now comes away with the lead, and St. Finian has a 4-length lead as they come for the finish line. St. Finian now draws off at the end. 3 for Me will be second, close for third for the slow-starting Sun Lover, Navy Blue, and Humboldt and Frost, and it's Navy Blue with the lead. Humboldt and Frost runs in second. Cat's Landing is now back running in third, and File for Divorce is fourth. Navy Blue with the lead and an 1/8 of a mile to the finish. Humboldt and Frost trying to hold second. Then it's File for Divorce and Cat's Landing, followed by Arctic King. But they're not going to catch Navy Blue, a 3.5-length winner. Humboldt and Frost did hold second. Arctic King finished third. And they're at the top of the stretch. And it is a Private Thrill with the lead over 100%. On the outside is Chase This Bandit. And on the extreme outside in the white blinkers, here comes Clockwork. 4 of them past the 8th pole. Chase This Bandit and Clockwork. And now it's between those two. Clockwork on the outside and Chase This Bandit. And it's going to be Clockwork to win it. 1.5 lengths. Chase This Bandit was second. Then 100%.
Clockwork at 8-1 first time out. A firster by noon mark for Tim Hills, Joe Bravo. 3 wins on the day. Jersey Joe.
I love this horse in the paddock. Probably the best looking son of Newmark I've seen in his brief stallion career. He just looked primed and ready to go for Tim Hills, who's had a limited number of starters, but has done well. Carafa getting back on track. But Joe Bravo, really the story of the day, picking up 3 wins.
A hat trick for Joe and Tim Hills, like you said, firing on all cylinders. The Mohawk last Saturday, today's nightcap, and he's got True Romance in the 3rd or 4th race here on closing day. Second time out off an 81 buyer who's going to be a pretty short price, and she looks pretty good for an underrated trainer. Race number 2, 3 and up maidens at a mile. For me, going in, I thought this was one of the more intriguing races on today's card, and it looked like a race, Maggie, where Private Label might just win and pour it on. Not the case.
He is a horse who loses focus, and I can tell that watching him in the paddock. He kind of is nickering, looking around like, oh, and he did here at the end. He almost got caught by Lucid in the final jumps there. And honestly, I was a little bit disappointed in the efforts from Guggenheim, who looked to be promising for John Sheriffs, though he can't pair up races seemingly, as well as Jazz Player. I really like this horse going in, and he just kind of came up empty as well. I mean, he was chasing on the outside, but really not much excuse towards the end.
Maybe a wet track?
Yeah, that's probably it. And I hope to see this horse coming back on a fast track and possibly running a bit better.
No, I will say I think this is a race to put a big circle over, because I just thought it was an above-average maiden race for this time of the year for those kinds of horses, and maybe a race to keep an eye on. I think it could be pretty live. And let's pop real fast. The Pletcher firster, Flight to Quality, who ran in the 3rd. What happened?
He was climbing all over the track, turning for home. I mean, he wasn't even on the chicklets for Trackus. And all of a sudden, when you watch him run by the finish wire, he's like in 5th gear. He's just exploded, and he actually galloped out by the time they hit the mile and 3/8 pole. He was about 2nd or 3rd behind the 2nd and 1st place finishers. So maybe one to watch. Probably see him on the turf next time.
Well, we got a whole bunch of horses to bet over in Queens as we check out the rider standings with only 2 full days and 20 races remaining at Belmont Park. Javier, have we seen this before? He's a top, and Erod Ortiz Jr. just won't let him take a breather.
Deja vu here at Belmont, just like Saratoga. And Irad honestly he got a handicap, Javier's. Irad got to a late late start. He had to take days at the beginning of the meet. Who knows what could have happened? I think Irad could very well have been on top of this jockey standings.
And Chad Brown continues to put up big numbers. I mean, did a fine job with Private Label, even though that horse just nearly got beat in the second, but he did win. Chad gets his 28th of the meet. Tim Hills with the win today. And look, Chad does a lot of things well.
Gary Gullo also quietly having a great meet. Sent out the first-time starter who sailed today. She was wicked fast and won by open length. So he's having a great meet as well. Golden Tiz yesterday, too.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary aired in the 5th with Noon Sermon, who was in for 40. Not claimed, nor was anybody out of today's 5th race. A pair out of the 1st, a pair out of race number 6. As we finish off our second segment of this Friday edition of Belmont Insider, it is Maggie and myself coming back beneath the trees, high above the stands for the home stretch. Stay tuned.
Now's the time to sign up for a Naira Rewards account with our new Bet 100, Get 100 bonus. We want to deposit $100 into the accounts of new signups during the Belmont Fall Championship meet. Just enroll, bet $100, and you'll receive $100 in your account the next day. It's that easy. Plus, new signups can access the brand new Naira HD app and watch live streaming races on their smartphones. Sign up today on track or at NairaRewards.com.
Home stretch at Belmont Park will be alive and well and still in the process of riding so many great unforgettable memories of this 2014 Fall Championship season. It all culminates here Sunday with the 10th and final race of this autumn meet. And of course, we have that final $300,000 guaranteed late pick 4 tomorrow afternoon. Race 7, the opening leg, a 10-race card altogether that gets off at 12:50, and certainly no rest for the weary regarding stakes action over these next couple days closing weekend. We have 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday, and even the graded bold ruler will take the spotlight on Saturday.
Yeah, exactly. Some older, nice horses. You know, you could call them sprinters, but most of them actually aren't. A good chunk of the field is actually turning back. And, you know, we had Tom Albatrani on the show yesterday talking about Romance, and really, he truly is a horse who runs well fresh. So I think he's a bit interesting.
Let's talk about his competition first as we get to River Rocks, who's coming in out of a career-best performance. Certainly was good upstate in Saratoga, defeated Salute Those Amigos, and then would go on to finish second here Super Saturday in the Kelso.
I think this horse is awesome, and kudos to trainer John Terranova for the job that he's done with him. He's fast, he has that high cruising speed, but boy, he still has a lot left at the end. We saw it last time in the Kelso, which is probably a little bit further than he wants to go against very, very nice horses, and he's not quite, he's meeting a nice field, but this is his distance, and he draws well post 6.
Well posted, looks like the controlling speed, maybe a little faster early on than the one confrontation. He's likely going favored, and River Rocks will look for that first graded stakes victory. But Romance has done some nice things, has hinted on more than one occasion that he might be the real deal in a grade 1 handicap horse. Was third in the Met Mile. Do you give him a shot tomorrow?
Of course, I do, because this performance here shows to me that, well, A, he likes one turn. He is that big, kind of stuffy horse, and I thought he ran superbly here in the Met Mile. He was 3 to 4 wide throughout the entire running of this race, was close up to the pace, going actually turning back in distance. So we'll see if things set up for him. I think he could be very, very live in this spot.
109 buyer for that third behind Palace Mouse and Golden Sense as we check out confrontation for Barkley Tagg, who's a 5-time winner from 8 career starts. Joe Bravo, a hot hand today. He'll be aboard from the inside post, and a horse that tasted defeat last time out in the Forego. Do you give him a look to potentially rebound?
I respect this horse in that he can kind of win from anywhere you put him. Now he is going to be under, well, the newly hot hands of Joe Bravo the first time he's been aboard this horse, taking over the reins for the injured Rajiv Mirage. But as we saw in the Forego, this horse is fast. We know this, but is he an actual class horse? Once again, he's kind of meeting a smaller field this time around, so we'll see if he truly belongs in the stakes quality.
Yeah, did have post 9 of 9 last time in the Forego. That was a closing weekend of that Saratoga meet where you wanted to be inside, and he'll look to rebound again from that rail with Jersey Joe for good old Barkley Tagg. As we check out 2-year-old fillies and potentially some of the stars of tomorrow with the $100,000 Chelsea Flower. This, unlike the Bold Ruler, plays part in both the pick 6 6 and $300,000 guaranteed late pick 4. It's a pretty nice field. You're expecting, you put up 100K for 2-year-old fillies on the turf at this time of the meet. You're expecting a big field, and we get that with a whole big group in the body of the race, led by Miss Chatelaine, who broke her maiden first time out for Christophe Colon.
Yeah, visually this filly was impressive, and Christophe has high hopes for her. I've read that in several articles written about this race. The thing, though, is truly she got a perfect setup. She rode the rail, very patient ride here by Rajiv Mirage, and angled out and had plenty left. She visually, it was great, but really, is she going to face adversity this time around? Though in her corner is a good post.
She got a good post. She picks up Joel Rosario. We're thinking of Rajiv. Glad he's doing okay. We hope to have him back with us. I'll tell you, you're reminded how tough the game is, even looking at a horse like Confrontation,
I know.
who he's been the go-to rider of that horse, and even a perfect ride in a speed-dominated race first time out with Miss Chatelaine. But again, Joel will be the substitute for Christophe tomorrow, as those guys a week out from their trip to the Breeders' Cup Classic with Tonalist.
Big Tonalist, yeah. He actually went out a bit earlier than most of the New York shippers have, and I kind of like that. I want him to get acclimated to the weather, the track, to everything out there. A lot of people don't like Tonalist, fine, but I'm rooting for him.
Yeah, I'm rooting for him as well. Can certainly clinch 3-year-old honors and maybe even a Horse of the Year title with the BC Classic win as we get back to Belmont's leading trainer in Chad Brown, New York-bred filly, Act Naughty. What'd you think of this debut? I thought she was really, really good.
I thought she was really, really good too, Jay. She, once again, is drawn outside. A masterful ride, don't get me wrong, by Irad here to kind of get her over to save as much ground as possible, swung her out wide, and once this filly got in the clear, to me, she exploded. To me, there's actually a lot of New York breds here in this field. She's one of them, and that was a great performance. We'll see what she beats, and she's going to get class tested tomorrow, but visually a nice one too.
Here's the great path, a big run into contention, and she'll hold on to break her maiden turf debut.
Now, considering the fractions, this did seem slow. The rails were very far out, so that always kind of messes with the times a bit. But you're right. She made a big middle move into that slow pace and was still able to hold off Trencita in the late stages of the race. Maybe a talented one for Shug that he seems to has gotten ready very quickly.
And it's been a while since we had turf racing at Belmont. Got to go back to last Sunday. It has not been that long since we had Andy join us on this show. He's given out nothing but live horses, and we go on this second to last day of the meet. Who's good tomorrow?
Saturday's 8th race. We are back on the turf Saturday. How great is that? The Chelsea Flower. Chelsea Flower, probably Nick Zito's only Grade 1 winner on the turf when she won our Flower Bowl. I do think that the 6-horse Miss Chatelaine is the one to beat. She looks like the best of maiden breakers, but I'm going to try to beat her. And I'm taking a shot with a price in here with My Cara Mia down on the rail. My Cara Mia, I thought, was fairly impressive in breaking her maiden first time out for trainer Mitch Friedman. Got a great ride by Rajiv Mirage, waited patiently, was able to circle the field, but I like the field that she beat that day, despite others having trouble. When she came back in the Miss Griot in her next start, she was caught very wide, chasing a very, very slow pace. The trip did not work out for her. She draws the rail in here, so she's not going to be caught wide again, and she's shown me that she's good enough to compete, and her price should be right. The 8th race on Saturday, My Cara Mia.
Potentially bombs away in the Chelsea Flower, My Cara Mia, and you kind of like her as well.
I do. I loved her the day she broke her maiden. She gets Lasix this time around. I still think she can be effective going this kind of distance. Now, she is drawn on the rail. Can be tough going the mile and a 16th, but she is live. 2
stakes. You and I, Belmont Insider, and all of you tomorrow have a great Friday evening. We close it out with the final Saturday card beginning at 12:50. Have a great evening, and we'll see you tomorrow right here on MSG Plus.